In 2020, a series of seemingly routine software updates quietly opened a secret backdoor into the heart of the US government. For months, state sponsored hackers roamed undetected, and bombs, but with code and keyboards, a war where the front line is your screech inside the Treasury Department. They also hit the Department of Commerce. Several other key agencies were compromised. These attackers weren't after your money, your screetion, they were after power. This is the story of the Shadowverse, a secret global conflict. Fought not with soldiers and bombs, your screetion, they code and keyboards.
Welcome to the University Utara Malaysia School of Computing. I am Dr. Ala Jabbar Al-Maliki. In 2020, a series of seemingly routine software updates silently opened a backdoor into the United States government. For months, foreign hackers moved undetected through agencies like the Treasury Department, seeking classified information and strategic leverage. This global map highlights the primary state-sponsored actors dominating modern cyber espionage: China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Their intelligence agencies deploy sophisticated teams to constantly probe, infiltrate, and establish long-term presence inside digital networks across the globe. To understand this conflict, we must examine how networks were originally built. This plaque marks the ARPANET Interface Message Processor. The Internet's early architecture, developed in the 1960s, assumed a closed system of trusted academic researchers. Security was an afterthought. By 1986, hackers like Marcus Hess had successfully exploited that trusting architecture to steal military data and sell it to the Soviet KGB. Because those foundational protocols remain largely unverified, our digital infrastructure operates as a geopolitical chessboard. Today, extracting sensitive data equates directly to holding national power. Let's examine how this digital access translates to physical destruction by analyzing the 2010 Stuxnet attack. This satellite image shows Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. To protect its uranium enrichment, the plant was completely air-gapped, meaning its internal computer network was physically disconnected from the public internet to ensure absolute security. This architectural diagram illustrates how the attackers bypassed that physical perimeter. Intelligence operatives introduced the Stuxnet worm via an infected USB drive. Once plugged into a local machine, the malware deployed 4 distinct zero-day vulnerabilities, flaws entirely unknown to Microsoft, to compromise the Windows operating system. Stuxnet was programmed to hunt for one specific piece of industrial hardware. This photograph shows the silver cylindrical centrifuges at Natanz. The malware targeted the Siemens Step 7 software, used to control the programmable logic controllers managing these centrifuges as they spun at supersonic speeds. This logic flow shows how the sabotage worked in practice. The code manipulated the centrifuges to spin out of control until they tore themselves apart. At the exact same time, the malware fed a fake normal green signal back to the monitoring screens. The engineers saw perfectly stable operations, while their hardware was physically destroyed. Stuxnet proved that a hostile nation's most critical physical infrastructure is a vulnerable military target. Code can cross the air gap and cause catastrophic real-world damage. Modern adversaries operate with highly specific strategies. This matrix maps the Big Four by their operational motives. China focuses on industrial scale and pre-positioning within critical infrastructure. Russia employs aggressive, destructive malware to destabilize its neighbors. North Korea operates like a criminal syndicate to steal financial assets, and Iran uses targeted disruption to project regional power. To execute these strategies, attackers follow a methodical process known as the cyber kill chain. Looking at this flowchart, the first 2 steps focus on initial access. Attackers use spear phishing to exploit human vulnerabilities through deceptive emails, or they deploy hoarded zero-day exploits to bypass technical firewalls entirely. Instead of installing custom malware that triggers antivirus alarms, advanced threats use a technique called living off the land. As step 3 appears on our chart, notice how the attackers are utilizing the network's own built-in administrative tools. By executing malicious commands through a legitimate Windows PowerShell interface, they blend in perfectly with normal network traffic. Attackers can also bypass your perimeter by hijacking a vendor you already trust. Step 4 visualizes a supply chain attack. During the SolarWinds hack, Russian operatives inserted malicious code into a routine, legitimate software update. When client organizations downloaded the update, they effectively invited the attackers inside. Finally, Step 5 shows the end goal. Attackers establish redundant persistence backdoors so they remain inside the network even if discovered. From there, they slowly siphon out intellectual property, breaking the data into small, encrypted chunks that look like standard outbound traffic. Let's pause for an active recall exercise. Imagine a heavily fortified corporate network. It strictly blocks all executable files and boasts a perfect employee success rate against phishing simulations. Pause the video and conceptualize how an advanced persistent threat could still breach this system. If you reasoned that traditional firewalls are no longer enough, you are correct. The most devastating modern campaigns exploit trusted third-party vendor updates and abuse native administrative protocols, rendering conventional perimeter defenses entirely ineffective. We saw the extreme consequence of these tactics in June 2017 with the release of NotPetya. The program displayed a ransom note demanding Bitcoin, but it was purely a destructive wiper designed to permanently erase every hard drive it touched. This flowchart maps NotPetya's rapid global spread. It began as a supply chain attack hidden inside Ukrainian accounting software called MEDOC. Once inside a local network, the malware utilized TurboBlue, a stolen NSA exploit, to move laterally from machine to machine without requiring human interaction. The automated spread paralyzed global supply chains. Shipping giant Maersk and pharmaceutical company Merck suffered massive production halts, leading to an estimated $10 billion in physical logistics and pharmaceutical losses worldwide. As we look ahead, artificial intelligence is accelerating the pace of this conflict. This diagram represents the automated arms race currently unfolding. On one side, offensive AI generates polymorphic malicious code that constantly rewrites itself to evade detection. On the other side, defensive AI analyzes network traffic in real time to heuristically identify and block those automated attacks. In response, United States cybersecurity strategy relies on a secure-by-design model. The liability for network protection is moving away from the end user and onto the software developers. As computer science students, you are responsible for engineering resilient systems from the very beginning. To learn more about building secure architecture, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.